We got a big ball game this week, and what a great opportunity for our football team. And we're in the midst of a great playoff run. I think our players are certainly focused and excited. Our coaching staff is very focused and excited, and I am as well. I also recognize this is the first time that I've had an opportunity to address our local media concerning my decision to take the head coaching job at the University of Wyoming. I'll answer a couple questions about that, but I would like to make sure that everybody recognizes this is about the 2013 NDSU Bison and our playoff run. And so while I'm not naive to believe that this thing's all going to be about Coastal Carolina, I would like to think that we're about business, and our players and program deserve the recognition for this great playoff run that we're in. So at this time, I'll answer any questions that anybody has.
Is the distraction factor, Craig, a big worry of yours this week?
No, it's not. I think maybe in some other times, or the composition of a different type of football team or a different type of coaching staff, I certainly think that it can be. That's not to minimize the potential of that, but one thing that this group has been really good about, Jeff, is being focused at the task at hand. They're able to compartmentalize a lot of things, and I'd like to think that my nature is certainly the same. I recognize the challenges is getting a football team ready to go through playoffs, and I would not have accepted the responsibility to continue to lead this football team and make sure that we're set and ready to go if that task would not be something that I'd be able to be capable of. And so from my standpoint, in watching practice and see how our coaches have gone through preparation and then the practice last night, I certainly have not seen that.
Coach, if you run the table here, it's going to be another month before you go to Wyoming. Mm-hmm. How much time can you or will you spend working on stuff at Wyoming, or will you have someone there getting some?
Yeah, there's somebody. We put that in place already, and that's why what's really helped is knowing and I have had an opportunity to go into a lot of different schools, and you're starting up things, and then also knowing recruiting cycles, and then also recognizing the task at hand for playoff runs and how they all mesh, and also understanding the timelines. And so I spent less than 24 hours on that campus, got things in place. I was back here yesterday. We have not, maybe it sounds real simple to say, but I don't think we've missed a beat. And there is a long portion that the NCAA, which makes it unique this year, that there's a dead period, not for FCS coaches, but a dead period for FBS coaches. And so no one can be out. And so when I looked at that timetable, I was able to meet with Gene and say, okay, this is doable. And the administration there has been they want us to complete our task here. And when I say our task, that's exactly what I mean. I look and say, this is the 2013 NDSU Bison, and we're going to do everything we can to win our third national championship, and Coastal Carolina sits right in the crosshairs of that.
Was there ever a moment you thought you would not be coaching here at NDSU after accepting the job?
Well, I knew that, and Gene and I have a really close relationship, one where we've been open and honest and frank, and navigated through a lot of challenging situations. Certainly not like this, but when we both sat down and looked at the lay of the land, initially I said, yeah. When I made this decision, then I had to recognize that, okay, I've made a decision to take another opportunity. And now, he's the athletic director, and he can replace me anytime he wanted to. But typically, if you're in the midst of a pretty good season, you're going to say, hey, you're the football coach, you run the football program. But when I said, okay, I've now made a decision to take this job, we looked and said, what's in the best interest of our players? What's in the best interest of our players? And so I think we both were very comfortable and confident in moving on.
Coach, you got pretty emotional on Sunday at your introductory press conference. How much do you plan to kind of soak in your however many days you have left here in NDSU?
You know what, I think that's Coach Osborne had mentioned that to me many years ago, that the thing he regretted was that he didn't have an opportunity. He said, I wish I would have been able to spend more time. So I've been doing that the last couple of years. And I know this is football, to really be successful, you get all caught up in emotions, you're not going to be able to really execute the task at hand. And so I felt like it's going to be important to be in business mode to get ready for Coastal Carolina, which, guys, this is a big challenge. This Coastal Carolina football team has got a lot of weapons, and it's going to provide a great opportunity for us this week.
Coach, after accepting the job, how much do you want this repeat for your players?
I appreciate you saying that for our players, because this deal to continue to coach is not about Craig Bohl having an opportunity to win 3 national championships. This is about these guys. And so, you know, certainly they've sacrificed, they've been unified and galvanized, and you want to have every opportunity for them to do something special.
Earlier in the year, your team struggled against mobile quarterbacks, back up against Kansas State and Fair State.
Yeah.
What changed in the middle of the year, and how do you take that into action this week?
Well, some of it just comes into play, the nature of how the game began to unfold. And then also I think our guys recognized, you know, you start out at the beginning of the year and you look at rush lanes and how things are unfolding, and then you begin to adjust. And you can try to replicate a lot of things off the scout team. It's difficult until you get out there on the field against somebody really skilled. And I think our guys have done a great job, you know, making sure we contain those quarterbacks.
Coastal Carolina scores a lot of points. Is there anything they do offensively that kind of worries you?
Well, they got a big running back. It's 230 pounds, and I think he's maybe number 2 or 3 in the country in rushing. So that presents a big challenge right away. Anytime you've got somebody they can run the football, whatever offensive formation they deploy, that poses problems because it puts your defense in a run-pass conflict. And so we'll need to really be effective in the run game. The challenging part playing Coastal Carolina is they also have the ability to throw. Quarterback's very gifted, skilled wide receivers. As you look through, a lot of strong, big offensive linemen. So they score a lot of points. Now the good news is, you know, we've been really good on scoring defense, and so, you know, that matchup should really prove to be very interesting come Saturday.
Can you remind me of any other offense you've seen this year? Are they similar to any other offense?
Yeah, you know what? A lot of similarities too. You know, they operate, you know, out of one back set, and quarterback's not under center and lot, and so all those things are, you know, similar from that standpoint. Schematics, there's some wrinkles that they have that are certainly unique, but that's true, Eric, for most teams that you play. But you know, I think their offense is obviously very, very effective and prolific. They've got great weapons, but the schemes are not things that make them so dangerous as those guys operating those schemes.
When you watch that Montana film, what jumps out at you, and what gives you cause for concern?
Well, number one, their ability to mentally stay focused. Now, if you would have taken our football team out to Missoula and it would have been the temperature that it was, we practiced in that all last week. And our guys would have operated okay. I'm sure most of their guys, I don't know if they've ever played a football game below freezing. And so to get a mindset saying, okay, you're going to play in an environment that's always a difficult place to play, one, and then two, with that type of temperature, and then to block all that out and excel the way they did, I think that tells a great deal about how their head coach prepared that football team. They executed very well, and so that was an overriding factor right there. I said, you know what, they're going to be able to deal with adversity. Now that was the adversity that they dealt with was weather. There's all kinds of other adversities, but nonetheless, that's a mental part. And so I think that's a huge challenge, and I think they're very skilled. I mean, the area of the country that they live in, while we got to go hours and hours and hours because of our population base to find some potential football players. You can get a tank of gas and drive around. You're going to have your whole team.
Are there any additional challenges with an earlier start time at 11 o'clock, or is that something you're not too concerned with?
A little bit of concern. You know, players work on clocks. There's an internal clock that we have, and we addressed that, on yesterday's meeting, that this is going to be an 11 o'clock game, so you're going to need to wake up and get yourself set and ready to go. And we get in a routine, and that's been important wherever we travel and however we operate, whether at home or away, we're in the same routine, and athletes work in a routine. So we'll have our pregame meal a certain number of hours right before we play, which is always the same. But I told our guys, get used to getting to bed a little bit earlier and get up a little bit earlier so you're not waking up. And, if you wake a college guy up, a lot of them, before 7 o'clock in the morning, that's viewed as cruel and unusual punishment. And we're going to be playing early.
Coach, are you familiar with their coach?
You know what? He was a CEO of Ameritrade in Omaha, but his time there was not when I was there. One of my best friends down there I know was a CFO at one time of Ameritrade. So, and then he retired. And now he's a professional poker player. So, I'll have a talk with him about our acquaintance. But beyond that, their defensive coordinator was a graduate assistant coach for us when I was at the University of Nebraska. And one of their defensive assistants, Doug Coleman, played for me at Nebraska. So some connections there.
Coach, how hard was it addressing the team that Sunday after they found out and everything leaked out? And after talking with them, do you still feel like the players are 100% behind you and the coaching staff?
Well, we're galvanized to move forward and win. And, my address to that football team is the clock's running here. I was very emotional 2 weeks prior to that when it was senior week. When all those seniors had talked to the football team individually, about every time they got up, I shed tears. And it was very emotional for me when I looked at the backside of their jerseys as they ran out. I can still remember, in the darkness of the dome and then the spotlight, just one by one, them running out. And it was very emotional for me. Once that was hit, I knew, okay, that's done. I told our guys on Sunday, I said, hey, this is a man's game played by men. You want to get all emotional and have a big crying pity party or whatever? We ain't going to accomplish what we need to. Park that. Get yourself focused. This is about the here and now and us. Let's go in and get ready to beat Coastal Carolina. So that's been the mantra. That's our attitude, and it was shown that way last night.
Can you comment on who else you intend to bring with you?
You know what? I'm not going to do that at this time. There's a lot of things. Obviously, there's state laws and things like that. But it would be, there's a reason why we're 41-2. It dang sure is not because Craig Bohl's doing all this stuff. There's a collective effort by a whole lot of people, and those assistant coaches are the guys that really drive the train. And that's not to minimize our academic support area, strength and conditioning, sports medicine, but our assistant coaches are very capable. And so for me personally, I think it would be very, very short-sighted if I didn't offer an opportunity for many of these guys to move, because if you come to, and I've closed practice, because probably you guys are saying, well, why the heck are we paying this guy? He doesn't do anything when he's out there. Now, you're supposed to laugh on that one. Let's lighten the meeting room up a little bit.
What do you think the fan reaction will be to you on Saturday?
I haven't really processed that. The main concern I had is, what are our players doing? How are they? What's going on with them? So, I do want to say our fans have been phenomenal, and I'm in hopes that our fans are going to continue to be phenomenal here. It's the 12th man. It's been great to see. I can remember the coach at Nebraska Omaha once said, yeah, it's great to come to play in the Fargo Dome. It's like being in church there. It's very quiet and very docile environment. And he was an experienced football coach. And it's been neat to see the transition to where now that's an electric atmosphere. And we're in hopes that it's going to continue to stay that way. And I'm confident it's going to continue to stay that way long after I'm right off in the sunset.
Where at health-wise going into Saturday morning?
A lot better than we have been. And I don't know how everybody saw Marcus Williams run down the sideline. That was great to see. I think Andrew Grothman's a little bit better. We were able to make it through the game. We had one scary spot. We thought Zach Johnson might have a broken collarbone, and I thought I was going to have to go get some mental health for our offensive line coach, Coach Fuchs, and we found out he was okay. So I think we're in really good shape.
There's a lot of focus on Coastal Carolina's offense. They put a lot of points. What about on the defensive side of the ball? Are you thinking this might have to be a little bit of a shootout? You think you have to score a little more than you used to?
That's not been our MO to get in a shootout. That's not our mindset. If you look at that clock, how it runs down, Brock usually snaps. I don't know how everybody else does. Anybody else look and go, okay, is he going to snap the ball? Is he going to snap it? I keep on saying, Brock, are you looking at that deal? Coach, I got it, you know. So to say it's a shootout, I mean, we've scored a lot of points before, but that's not been our MO. But we will need to score. I think it would be unrealistic to say that with all the weapons they have offensively that they're not going to put up some points. You know, to say that you're going to hold them in single digits, I think that's not going to happen. It sounds like a blanket statement, but I have a hard time seeing that. So we're going to need to score points. To say it's going to be a shootout, we're not equipped for a shootout.
This is the best quarterback you faced all year? He's pretty good.
He's very good. I think what makes him good, though, is they have the ability to run. And, you know, if you can run the football, then that opens up a lot of things in the passing game. But he is very good.
Coach Ertz played 56 career games at a position that is pretty physical. How admirable is that?
I think really admirable, especially how this senior year's been. He's stayed on the field. He's an Iron Man, and it's great to see him. He's been an excellent captain for us. Okay, anything else?
The first time you faced a coach that's a billionaire?
You know what? I didn't go through his IRS tax form. Maybe he's not a billionaire. He's got a heck of a lot more money than I do. I could coach here at Wyoming for the next 20 years. He's a wealthy guy. But you know what I admire? I knew his story. I admired the fact he had started out as a college football coach. I thought he coached at Dartmouth. And then, you know, sometimes we do other things. But he certainly always had a passion to go into coaching. And you don't run I don't know if he's a billionaire, but I know that company that's a big, big, big outfit, and you're a CEO of that outfit. You've got to have some skills, and I'm 150. Why don't you ask him for a check for a new indoor facility for us, Gene? So we're not practicing outside when it's zero.
His shareholders had a 500% return the time that he was head of the company.
Yeah.
Not a bad winning percentage there.
No, that's a hell of a lot better than 41-2.
Is there a certain style of their league, the Big South? Do they play a certain way like the Valley plays, or is it basically spread out offense?
Well, you got different elements in there. I mean, but it's a skill-based league. Now, it's not to say their offensive linemen aren't big, but typically, if you look at the scores, there's a lot of points scored. And, you know, my history of recruiting down there, you know, it's a big deal if somebody runs 10-9 in the 100 meters around here. You don't get out of your district track meet if you're not in the 10-7s. So a lot of fast guys, and that's typically going to translate into wide open offenses and a lot of points.
Is anybody continuing to stay in touch with recruits through all this?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep.
You lost anybody?
Pardon me?
You lost anybody to your knowledge?
No.
You talked to Joe Glenn at all, or are things too different out there from when he was out there, just about the
You know, Coach Glenn, it's interesting. Coach Glenn recruited me when I was in high school, and so, but I have not talked to him. No. And that's a case in point. That whole, I don't know what the word would be, how that job interaction counted, that was not a long process. And I was there less than 24 hours, and I was back here. So I ain't been on the phone talking to a whole lot of other people about anything to do with the cost of butter. This is about the 2013 Bison.